Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Everyone like the video. Oh, man, we got a lot going on and a lot to talk about here. So welcome. And we may take some calls, too. If you want to call in, stand by. I'll give out the number in a little bit. But, you know, we're finally getting, really, which is a truly amazing announcement from Elon Musk and Twitter. Like, the whole deal has melted down. And everyone's like, what's going on here? Why would Elon Musk do this? He's got to pay this humongous fine. What's going on? You know, listen, you do not become the world's richest African-American man and the richest man. I mean, think about that. The richest man in the world is also the richest African-American, but you do not become the richest man in America without knowing what you're doing all the time, especially when it comes to finance. And what Elon Musk has done with Twitter, I find just absolutely amazing, and I'm very excited about it. And I'll talk about it here a little bit in the beginning of the stream. But here's what Elon Musk has done. He has totally, 100% brought Twitter down. You know, Twitter, so far as its power and influence over every aspect of our society, has been reduced by, I don't even know how much, half, more than half. Twitter's relevance so far as the driving force of news, media, finance, stock markets, currencies, everything has almost evaporated. And, you know, Twitter was driving everything. And it was a major manipulation. And we all knew that Twitter was filled with bots. I mean, this was not something that was a big secret, but it was really nothing you could prove, nothing you could show. And what Elon Musk has done is shown that at least 50% of the activity on Twitter is fake, is bots. And it's probably greater than that. I mean, you know, if you wanted to put a number on it, I don't know, it could be 70% or more is fake activity. And it's not just the fake bot accounts that are on there following people, because, you know, a lot of these people that are in media and celebrities that have 1 million plus followers on Twitter, that's not real. Everyone knows that these people with these huge followings have a huge number of their following is fake, right? But the bots do more than just follow people and pump up their numbers. The bots are very high tech and are interactive. They like tweets, they retweet, they get things trending, and there's all kinds of things. And Twitter has been used as probably the most powerful media weapon, because it's a media tool, you know, of everything you can imagine. It's a form of media, social media, right? Twitter has been used as an incredibly powerful tool to change whatever the powers that be wanted to change. And I don't think at this point that Elon Musk really ever intended on buying Twitter. I think what Elon Musk was more concerned about than anything was exposing and bringing Twitter down. And a lot of people are like, well, he signed this deal. He's going to lose all this money because of that contract. You know, he will make that up many, many more times by stopping Twitter from being able to manipulate things. You know, Twitter, you know, could get a news story going and get the entire country thinking, and not just the country, the whole world, because it's worldwide. Yeah, a narrative pusher, someone said in the chat room, right on the money. It's a narrative pusher. Twitter can get a global topic trending, and people around the planet will think that millions and millions of people have a certain idea about something when it's really just a couple of guys in some cubicle somewhere at a Twitter place. And now that they've been exposed, that's all over. So anyway, let's just go through a little bit of this story. Elon Musk could be trying to drive down the price of Twitter by terminating his $44 billion deal, an expert says. Twitter might be willing to settle for a small price reduction just to spare the time and expense. It says here in April, Elon Musk first offered to purchase Twitter and a deal worth around $44 billion. Since then, Musk has stalled on the deal, citing issues over the number of fake accounts on the platform. And this is a big thing. Elon Musk, for the past couple of months, has been trying to get an accurate count. And I think Twitter came out and said, well, yeah, we have some bots, but it's only like 5% of what's on the platform. Right? Come on. Does anyone believe that 5% of what's on the platform? And Twitter has been, there is not one aspect of our society over the past 5 years or so that Twitter hasn't been manipulating. And now that's over. No one trusts Twitter anymore. You know that if you see something trending that, well, you know what, maybe that isn't trending. You know it's probably a fake trend that someone's either sponsoring or someone with some agenda is pushing, and you're not going to care. What's happened to Twitter, it's absolutely amazing. It's kind of like what's happened to, over the years, other media platforms. It's just happened a lot faster. Before the internet, the CNN was the news source of record for quite a long time. And if something was reported on CNN, and if CNN got a narrative going and started doing a lot of stories, the other media followed, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, look at this, CNN, they're all over this. This is a big deal, and people are around their television sets. And they've lost credibility now, right? They have fake news media. Trump exposed the fake news media. Elon Musk exposed the fake social media. And it used to be before CNN, there were the nightly news in the newspapers, and now they don't have any credibility. So the different media outlets have completely lost credibility. And what has credibility now are what Andrew Breitbart used to talk about, citizen journalists. That's like you or me. Here I am on YouTube doing a stream. I'm a citizen journalist. You're putting something out there in some way on Truth Social or even Twitter yourself. You are a citizen journalist. That's what Andrew Breitbart talked about when the cell phone became a big thing. You are all now with these cell phones. You are now with video and everything else. You are now a citizen journalist. Mainstream corporate media, or what Ron DeSantis calls legacy media, just doesn't have credibility anymore. And that's a good thing because, when they really lost Twitter and the final, I think, thing that happened with Elon Musk that made him buy Twitter, we've talked about this, is when they banned the Babylon Bee, right? The Babylon Bee, very funny parody site. Twitter banned them, and the next thing you know, Elon Musk tweeted about it, and then he's out there trying to buy Twitter. So I don't know. You guys let me know. Do you believe that Elon Musk ever intended to buy Twitter, or was Elon Musk just trying to bring down and expose Twitter as a fake social media influencer? I think it's probably maybe a little bit of both, but more the second. And my wife, Kathy, she thinks that Twitter is worthless because Trump's not on it, and Trump's never going to go on it. And Truth Social's starting to pick up. By the way, follow me on Truth Social, Real Brian Craig on Truth Social. But that's without question where we're at right now, and this is just great stuff. It's a great time because Elon Musk, he had his little come down the escalator moment here, and it's beautiful. And I love watching these idiot pundits in the news act like Twitter is coming out ahead of this over Elon Musk. Give me a break. These idiots on CNN, they actually think that they have trumped the richest man in the world, Elon Musk. I don't think so. Oh yeah, he totally punked them Wookiees. There's no doubt about it. Now, I did turn the phones on this morning, and if you want to call me here on the stream live, it's the same number that I use on the radio, 1-888-465-2631. Toll-free call from anywhere, 888-465-2631. Toll-free call, it'll ring right through here, and you can be live on the stream. This story here, this is just an amazing thing. And, the overturning of Roe v. Wade by President Trump. And make no mistake about it, President Trump overturned Roe v. Wade. He put these perfect people up on the Supreme Court that did what he promised when he was in the debates with Hillary. He says, vote for me. I'm going to put justices on the court that are going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And most people didn't really think too much of that because a lot of presidents have promised to overturn Roe v. Wade. None of them before Trump ever meant it. And I mean, I didn't think it was possible. Did you guys? You know, what happens on the Supreme Court is, you know, anyone who gets a Supreme Court appointment is a political person. If you've got the kind of connections to get a federal judgeship appointment or a Supreme Court appointment, you've got a lot of contacts politically. And they play the game to get these appointments and get elevated. And they get on the court and they go rogue, right? Like Sandra Day O'Connor, a conservative woman, first woman on the court appointed by President Reagan. She's up there ruling with the Democrats all the time, right? Through her time on the court. That's what happens. And because of that and that past history of Supreme Court justices selling us out like the Chief Justice did on Obamacare in 2010, you know, you figure, well, you know, maybe we'll get one or two up there, but that third one, who knows, you know, they don't want to overturn the review. And boom, it happened. And it was amazing. And Trump did that. And it's I think, regardless of what Trump will do in his second term, which is going to be amazing, his second term is going to be amazing because coming in for a second non-consecutive term, President Trump is going to have a complete mandate to just wave a magic wand and get anything done he wants to have done. It's just the way it's going to be. And then, of course, he's going to pick his successor, who I hope is my governor, Ron DeSantis, here in Florida. But no matter what he accomplishes in his second term, I cannot imagine, but you never know with Trump, he can always surprise you. I cannot imagine an accomplishment greater than overturning Roe v. Wade, because overturning Roe v. Wade will save millions of lives forever and ever and ever. Millions of babies will be born because they're not going to be aborted now in the United States. And not only that, those babies that are born that aren't aborted, they're going to have babies too. I was talking on my podcast with my wife Kathy the other day that it's kind of like that last scene in Schindler's List. Remember when they show all the survivors and their children and grandchildren in Israel, and they're all lined up, and you see how many people were alive. They give you the number because Schindler saved people. That's what it's like with Trump. It's just a lot more people than Schindler. So he is the Oscar Schindler of unborn children, Donald Trump. And that's just an amazing, amazing accomplishment. He has saved more lives probably than any other single living person. It's amazing. And you see this trend now going on with more rolling over abortion rules and rights and laws all over the country because the majority of the American people are pro-life. Now, and that doesn't mean that they're against birth control or even the morning after pill, but I think once you get up to 6 weeks, we probably have 95% of Americans probably believe there should be no abortion after 6 weeks. And, you know, even when there's people have different lines they draw, but the 6 week is one that hardly anyone agrees with after that. And these lunatic leftists, these lunatic Democrats, let me do like Biden. Repeat the line. These lunatic Democrats. What an idiot. That's the guy with the nuclear football, right? But anyway, these lunatic Democrats have pushed things so far where they have partial birth and even post-birth abortion advocacy. And, you know, they've really done themselves in. Because liberals got a lot of problems. But the biggest problem liberals have is they have no boundaries, right? You give them an inch, they want another mile. That's just the way it is. And this one here, this is amazing. And there's going to be a big trend, and there's going to be a lot of success with this. Texas congressman says he's working on a bill to restrict abortion nationwide. Now, you may say to yourself, well, that'll never pass. Maybe not now, but just a few weeks ago, who would have ever thought the Supreme Court would have overturned Roe v. Wade? And you know what's going to happen down the road? There's gonna be a look back 50 years from now, 100 years from now. It may even be sooner because You know, in 18 years, 18 years from now, there are going to be discussions, public discussions and panel discussions, and the audience is going to be filled with 18-year-olds who were born because of Donald Trump, who were not aborted because Donald Trump overturned Roe v. Wade. And it may even start then, like in 18 years, people will start to look back at this 50-year Roe v. Wade period, and it's going to become a national shame, a national embarrassment that people are just going to be so sorry for. And I think you're going to see a lot of that. But this guy here, I like this guy. Let's play this. This is the way of the future, I got to tell you.
I'd like to introduce it. I'm working on it actually right now to take the state of Texas law, which basically prohibits abortion, except in the situation where the mother's life is at risk. So where there is the scenario of life for life, I think that's appropriately delegated to the woman, to the family, in consultation with their pastor and doctor, etc. I'd like to have that the law of the land. I think that is the ideal for me. But I also understand and respect and also support the decision that the Supreme Court made, which is until such time there is legislation that passes the legislative body at the federal level, then we delegate it to the states. I'm proud of where Texas is. It represents and reflects my values, and I believe the folks who are standing with me. But it's a steeper hill to climb in Washington. But that doesn't mean we don't need to start climbing it now, and get to a place one day. Look, I never thought during my tenure I'd see Roe v. Wade overturned. So I look forward to the day we can have another press conference and celebrate protecting life from conception in every state in the union.
I mean, that's amazing. And, you know, just a few weeks ago, a conversation like this from a member of Congress, you would completely turn it off because you're like, well, you know, he's just saying something to get some right-wing Christian votes. It's never going to go anywhere. It's not going to happen. And we're there now, right? I mean, and Trump did that. It's absolutely amazing. No president that ever talked about overturning Roe v. Wade actually meant to do it or intended to do it, except Donald Trump. And that, you know, that's one of the many reasons they hate him, you know, because he does what the Republican agenda wants to do. Hey there, you're on the stream live. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm actually in Washington. My name is Ryan. How are you doing, Brian?
All right, right. Washington State or D.C.?
State.
Oh, okay, good. What's on your mind?
I actually just watched a movie. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but...
Lost the call there. Oh, it sounded like it was going to be a good one, too. I don't know what happened there. I wonder what movie he was talking about. Oh, well, you can call back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Now, this story here, we'll wait for the guy to call back if he'd like to call back. I talked about this on the radio yesterday, and this one here really bugs me, and it's a terrible thing going on here. The new Black Panthers looking for the lady who is believed to be the accuser of Emmett Till, and you know, here we go. Let's see, maybe it's him back. All right, you back?
Hi, this is Ryan again. How are you doing?
Hey, Ryan, Brian? I lost you. Okay, I was dying to know what the movie was you were talking about.
It's called Unplanned.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I don't think I have.
I would highly recommend, if anybody's on the border of like abortion or not abortion, definitely watch that movie. It's very detailed exactly in the process, but I think the main lady actually has worked with Trump to help with the abortion in pro-life.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't remember the name of I know what you're talking about now. I cannot remember her name, and I actually had her on my podcast as a guest. She's the woman who worked for some time for Planned Parenthood. Yes.
That is correct.
Yeah, I cannot remember her name to save me, and I interviewed her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, my biggest problem with abortion, and I don't know what your opinion is exactly on it, is definitely medical issues and also a rape cases. That's the only time I could think that abortion would be okay. But any other times, I am totally against it.
Well, hold on a second here. When you say, both of those things, that when they say the health of the mother, that's very vague. Okay, health could be stretch marks. You know what I mean? Health marks is a vague thing. Abby Johnson, by the way, yes. Thank you very much. I interviewed Abby Johnson when that movie first came out on my podcast. If you go on my podcast platforms, you can find that interview. The life of the mother, that's one thing. But there's and so far as rape, is it the child's fault that they're a product of rape? Is a life any less valuable because it was produced out of a rape?
It's
don't still a life.
Think so. Definitely, I understand your point. It's just it's those two main issues that it's kind of got me on a border so much because I am definitely pro-life. But I definitely, like with my sister, she's had tons and tons of health medical issues where it could kill her or the baby, or possibly both.
Yeah.
That's where I would be more.
Well, there's other options. There's other
about.
options. My wife has health issues, and and when we were at that phase in our life, a little younger, and wanted to have a baby, becoming pregnant could kill her. So we took precautions so that didn't happen.
Absolutely, and myself, I'm
and by the way, one of those precautions was not an abortion. You can there's ways that you cannot become pregnant if you're a woman.
Yes, and I'm actually allergic to birth control and everything.
Really? You're allergic to birth control?
I am.
What kind of birth control would you be taking that you're allergic to?
Anytime a woman has taken any birth control that I've been with, I have broken out in hives.
Really? That's an odd one. Okay. All right. That's certainly a place you don't want to break out in hives in. Oh my goodness. That must be a real turn off to the ladies.
All right. You have one for today, Brian. Thank you.
All right. You take care. Thanks for the call. I just want to mention before I get to this Emmett Till accuser, because this is an important story, this Emmett Till, because what they're doing here. This is a big one. This story of this 10-year-old girl who is pregnant, and Biden was talking about this case yesterday. I do not believe that this 10-year-old girl in Ohio exists. If you go online and read the stories about it, okay, the girl has not been named, and there's no representative of the girl. The 10-year-old pregnant girl in Ohio that had to go to Indiana to have an abortion, the story has been put out secondhand. I know it's hard to move on after he says he breaks out in hives when he has sex with a woman on birth control. It's a very strange thing. Maybe he's just allergic to sex that doesn't create a life, right? I don't know. That's very. I don't think women. If you break out in hives, they probably break up with you. But anyway, the story. There's no 10-year-old girl that we've seen. There's no representative of a 10-year-old girl. It was a secondhand story. A doctor relayed a story to the media of a conversation she had with another doctor about a 10-year-old girl who was pregnant and couldn't get an abortion because she was a few days past the 6-week mark in Ohio. And what I think happened with that story is like this story about the Border Patrol agents with the whips that didn't have the whips. I think it was an anecdotal story, like, a doctor relayed a story. I was talking to another doctor. What would happen if we had a 10-year-old girl who was pregnant? She was 3 days past the 6 weeks. What would we do? And I think the fake news media ran with that like it was a real thing. And, Biden was talking about it yesterday. So I don't believe that 10-year-old girl ever existed. If that 10-year-old girl existed, if that was a true story, these lunatic leftists would be all over the place following that girl around. Now, they would protect the girl's identity because she was 10, but they would interview a doctor, there would be an attorney, there would be people that would be involved. It's completely fake news. I do not believe that story at all. I'm not saying that it could not happen, and it has not happened, but that particular story, and Biden cited it yesterday, total fake news. It's total fake news. It doesn't exist. Thankfully so, by the way. Thankfully so. So I wanted to, though, let me pull this up, because this story here, I think is an important story. It's the story they found in Mississippi. They found this old arrest warrant for an old lady now who's in her 80s that was the Emmett Till accuser, and now the new Black Panthers are out there searching for her to make a citizen's arrest, I guess. And this is a local story out in Mississippi, I believe, about their search.
A week ago, an unserved arrest warrant was found in the killing of Emmett Till in 1955. It was in the basement of a Mississippi courthouse. Today, a group of activists gathered in Raleigh, once again calling for the arrest of Carolyn Bryant Donham. That is the woman at the center of this nearly 70-year-old civil rights case. CBS 17's Brea Hollingsworth is live in Raleigh for us tonight with much more on what this group is asking for. Brea?
Oh, it's in Raleigh where this happened. I guess she's moved.
Yeah, that group showed up to 2 addresses where they believe Carolyn Bryant Donham lives, but they didn't have any luck in finding her. Donham has been a central figure in this case for years, which has found its way back into the national spotlight.
Got a warrant for your arrest.
A piece of history recently found in a Mississippi courthouse basement has put new attention on the death of teenager Emmett Till. That history, an unserved warrant for the arrest of Carolyn Bryant Donham.
She lied. Carolyn lied. She did what? She lied. She lied on Emmett Till. That's right. And her lies and her conspiring with her husband led to the gruesome death of Emmett Till, whose death was a major spark behind the entire civil rights movement.
Today, attorney Malik Shabazz, along with other activists, delivered eviction papers asking Donham to leave the state of North Carolina.
Open up the door.
Look at this.
Activists say they want
Now, keep in mind, they're going door to door looking for a woman who's in her 80s.
arrested, saying her accusations that Till
That's her.
whistled at her led to his eventual abduction and gruesome murder in Mississippi back in 1955.
Carolyn Bryant Donham is a fugitive from justice. Carolyn Bryant Donham has ran and hid and ducked from justice long enough.
We want to get this message to her that she has a warrant for her arrest, and we ain't gonna stop until she turn herself in.
Now, Attorney Shabazz says that he is planning to be in Mississippi this week to pressure the LaFleur County District Attorney to enforce the warrant that was never served on Donham. In Raleigh, Brea Hollingsworth.
Okay, so this case. Okay, Emmett Till is without question the beginning of the civil rights movement, and there's a lot of different versions of what happened to Emmett Till and how all of this happened. Okay. And you never really have a true accounting. But what had happened was this woman's husband and brother, if memory serves, her half-brother, doesn't matter, but her husband and brother lynched Emmett Till. And then the story, there's different variations of the story. He was 15 at the time, and that some stories say that he sexually assaulted her. Some stories say he just whistled at her walking down the street. And obviously, he didn't do any of those things. There's no way a 15-year-old black boy in Mississippi in 1955 whistled or anything at a white woman. I think what happened was her husband and brother were a couple of racist killers, and they just wanted to lynch someone, and they did it. Now, when her story came into play is also unclear. Did she come out with that? Because it's such a politically charged case, and even still today, that I have not read what I would consider to be a complete historic, accurate narrative of what happened there, because I don't think anyone really truly knows, except the people that were involved. She very well may have come up with that story after they lynched him, thinking it was a defense. Now, by the way, her husband and brother were acquitted for lynching Emmett Till. So, yeah, I know, it's an unjust verdict. They murdered him. And her role in it certainly is a terrible role. But what is the point of the new Black Panthers doing this to this lady today? And I'll tell you what it is. It's relevance, to have relevance. Here we are in 2022. We have complete racial equality. That doesn't mean that everyone agrees and all of that, and there's issues and things come up. But we are beyond all of that. And African Americans have full access to everything, maybe even more access than white people. through different things. I mean, that's a reality of it. So they have nothing left to organize for. They have nothing left to organize for. All of the civil rights groups that are racial civil rights groups, like the New Black Panthers, what issue do they have to fight for anymore? So if you are an activist group and all of your goals have been accomplished, what do? Well, what they're doing is going back in time to 1955 and trying to stir trouble up like it's still 1955 without acknowledging that we're where we are at now, which is a total racial equality situation. The gay activist organizations, they got everything, right? Gay activism has won everything. Gay marriage and everything else. There is nothing that gay activists had on their agenda that they haven't accomplished. So what have they done? Well, now they've gotten into all this gender and transgender and all these other weirdo things, because these activist organizations serve a couple purposes. One, they're Democrat vote-getting organizations, and another one is they are money makers. People make a living as the head of the New Black Panthers, as the head of the gay rights group, whatever it is. And when they accomplish their goals, they don't fold up and say mission accomplished. They want to keep going, so they have to cause trouble, stir up trouble, create new issues, create new divisions, and it's really a pathetic thing. They're like like when I was a kid in the tabloids, like the Weekly World News, they'd have a story on a Japanese soldier who was found on an island in the Pacific, and it was 1978, and he still thought the war was going on, and he was fighting the war. That's what they're like. They're like still fighting wars that have been won, and that's the way it is. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We'll expose them. That's what we'll do. Now, this here is just disgusting. What's going on with Brett Kavanaugh and these abortion protesters. I'm sure you've seen this story. Protesters forced Kavanaugh to leave a steakhouse. They're putting a reward out there. If you see a member of one of the Republican members of the Supreme Court and you contact us, there's a reward if they're there 30 minutes later and they show up and they're going to harass them. Now, what surprised me the most about this story, and this was what really I thought was interesting, is that Brett Kavanaugh and his family were still in Washington. I would have thought they would have been out of Dodge by now, wouldn't you? Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. But he's still there. And these abortion activists, they just won't leave them alone. And God help this poor steakhouse, because now they're going after the steakhouse because they serve them a meal. What's happened here, and with every issue with the Democrats, like this lynch mob of Black Panthers that are looking for this woman from the Emmett Till case, the Democrats as a group have spent the last 40 years or so bullying all of us into bending to their will and getting their way. And for the very first time, they're not getting their way on really much of anything, right? And they're having meltdowns, not so much over the issue. They're used to intimidating and bullying people, getting what they want, regardless of what the mainstream opinion is on the issue, and they just can't handle it. And most of these activists, because they're like millennials and younger, they're what I call the participation trophy generation. They think they have some constitutional right to get what they want, and they can't handle the fact that they're not getting what they want. But I'll tell you this, the Democrats who are pushing for their legislation to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land, good luck with that. That is never going to happen. They could not even get enough Democrats to pass that. Okay, if they had a larger majority, they could not get enough Democrats to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land. That's just not going to happen. But you know what? For the next 25 years or so, until another issue comes up, the Democrats are going to constantly be running candidates telling you that they're going to they're going to make Roe v. Wade a national law. But the thing with the Democrats that I don't think they realize, This is the beginning of the end of the Democrat Party as we know it. It really is. You know, there have been other political parties like the Whigs. Whigs were big, you know, in the 1800s, and they're gone. There's no more Whigs, and that's what's happening to the Democrats. There's a major collapse of the Democrat Party, and it's for a variety of reasons. But Bernie Sanders and AOC with this democratic socialism, that's the future of the Democrat Party. It's going to become an open democratic socialist party, and that's great news because the American people don't. Oops, sorry about that. Hit the mic. The American people don't support that. Now, this is a real.
Senator Warren also taking aim at pregnant.
Oh yes, Elizabeth Warren. This is a really unbelievable thing, Elizabeth Warren. You know, and one of the great benefits of overturning Roe v. Wade, beyond the saving of all the lives, is that we get to hear what these sicko, twisted Democrats think about a whole variety of issues. Listen to this. She's got a real sickness, this woman, Elizabeth Warren.
Senator Warren also taking aim at pregnancy crisis centers.
Here in Massachusetts, these so-called crisis pregnancy centers outnumber genuine abortion clinics by 3 to 1.
She says women walk into the centers believing they'll get abortions. Instead, they try to talk women out of it. She calls it a bait and switch.
They are giving it over to people who wish them harm. And that has to stop. We need to put a stop to that in Massachusetts right now.
You know, maybe pregnancy crisis centers outnumber abortion clinics in Massachusetts because there's not enough demand for the abortion clinics. You know, maybe that's why. You know, Elizabeth Warren is the one that started that "you didn't build that" thing that became kind of like a catchphrase for Obama. Remember that? You didn't build that. The people that built that went to the public schools. The government did everything. Remember that? That's her. But, you know, if Roe v. Wade had not been overturned, you wouldn't see Ava Braun here coming out and complaining, there's more pregnancy crisis centers than there are legitimate abortuaries. And, you know, the thing about these leftists on this, they tell you they're pro-choice. They don't often say they're pro-abortion. They like to say that they are pro-choice. Well, if you're pro-choice, you support whatever choice a pregnant woman makes. And one of those choices is, I'm keeping my baby, right? All right, Papa, don't preach. But it doesn't seem that it seems like they are out of the closet supporting one choice. Well, we've always known that, okay? We on the right and the pro-life side of things, we've always known that they only supported one choice and one choice only, and it's nice to see them come out and let us know. Now, I pulled this story up. This is a story on the Ohio girl that I was talking about earlier, okay? And this is what I'm telling you. I don't believe this story exists, okay? I think it's total fake news. Let's go through this. I wanted to show you what I mean. A 10-year-old, this is Biden. A 10-year-old should be forced to give birth to a rapist child. Biden fumes at the story of an Ohio girl who went to Indiana to get an abortion. Says we can't let the out-of-control Supreme Court extremist Republicans take away our personal autonomy. Biden raised his voice. Oh, my goodness. And then he went on to whisper, right? As he recounted the story, grasping the podium with both hands as he railed about the trauma the girl must have faced and the unfairness of the situation. Okay? And then he goes on. The case made national news. Now, here we go. Listen to this. The case made national news after it was revealed a child abuse doctor in Ohio sought the help of Dr. Caitlin Bernard, an Indianapolis gynecologist, to help a 10-year-old girl get an abortion after Ohio banned the procedure after 6 weeks, hours after the 6-3 Supreme Court vote. The child was 6 weeks and 3 days pregnant, therefore ineligible by just 3 days. Okay, so who's the other doctor? Who's the other doctor? And by the way, who took the 10-year-old girl to Indiana? Where's the talk of the? You know, I was happy to see Biden. Biden said one thing that I was glad to hear him say. He talked about the rapist that impregnated her. Where's the rapist? Who's the rapist? How did the 10-year-old girl become pregnant? You notice every story has Dr. Caitlin Bernard talking about this other doctor who's never named. Right? And no detail. Where is the police spokesperson in Ohio who's dealing with the rapist? Nothing. Where's the representation for the girl? Nothing. I'm telling you, the entire story stinks. The entire story is completely fake news, and none of it ever happened. And just coincidentally, 6 weeks and 3 days. If the story were real, would you put it? And I don't believe it is. I think it's completely fake news. If the story were real about the 10-year-old pregnant girl 3 days beyond the 6 weeks, do you put it past these doctors to wait the couple extra days to make a test case out of it? I don't. So, total fake news. Total fake news. You got to, the liberals know and the media know that when it comes to news stories, most people just read the headline. And that's okay. I get it. Sometimes I'm guilty of that. But if it's an important story, you got to go in and read the details. And there's so little sourcing. And every single story that you read about it is plagiarizing the original story. And the further you go back, the less detail there is. Now, I want to take a moment to tell you guys about MyPillow. And if you would like to support all of my content, which includes my YouTube channel, my podcast, the radio show, go to MyPillow and buy something with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout for huge savings, huge deals. And, of course, you're helping out Mike Lindell and all the people that work at MyPillow who most definitely need your help because, with Walmart dropping MyPillow, that is a big, big, big blow. And with my promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, there's just all kinds of specials going on. And this is a brand new one, the Summer Sandal Special. Save $40 off the summer sandals with the promo code KANE at checkout, the MyPillow sandals, K-A-N-E. And there's some great other deals, too. The BOGO Extravaganza continues. And the MyPillow towel set. I dried my body off this morning with my MyPillow towels. And buy one, get one free with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. And some of you may have heard me talk. Our towels and everything were all dirty one day. I got out of the shower. All I had was the washcloth, the little tiny washcloth that comes with the 6-piece MyPillow towel set. I dried off my hair and my entire body with just the MyPillow washcloth. And you know what? It worked. My hair was dry, my body was dry, just with a little washcloth. These are great towels. Buy one set, get a second set free with the promo code KANE. Of course, the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets. I, of course, sleep under these sheets every single night, my wife and I, and they're buy one, get one free as well. 100% Giza Cotton, and what they do is just perfectly regulate your body temperature. No matter what the temperature is in the room, hot, cold, whatever, you're always the perfect temperature. The MyPillow that started it all, buy one, get one free on the MyPillow with our promo code KANE. And this one here, this is a big life changer. This will change your life. The MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper, 30% off with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. And you get a set of these MyPillow sheets to go along with it, and you can see how it attaches to the mattress. I sleep on this 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper every night. If you've got a lumpy, bumpy mattress, think you need a new mattress, get the mattress topper, save the money, and this mattress topper, you will sleep the whole night through. It perfectly has the pressure points of your body are perfect on this. We got it because my wife was having some back pain, and we slept on it one night. Woke up the next morning, her back pain was gone. It has never returned, and it turns your whole mattress into a MyPillow. But take advantage of all the specials at MyPillow.com with my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. And when you do that, of course, you are supporting all of my content. Like, here's another story on I just want to give you an example. See, you really got to learn how, and I know most of you guys do, because you're watching me, you're smart, right? You follow the news. You know what the news media are all about. But just in case we got some lefty in there, this is another story. And I'm not trying to be repetitive on the 10-year-old girl. I just want to show you how fake the news media is, okay? So here we go. Here's another story. 10-year-old rape victim forced to travel from Ohio to Indiana for abortion. So here we go. The case of, and this is in The Guardian out of the UK. The case of a 10-year-old child rape victim in Ohio who was 6 weeks pregnant, ineligible for an abortion in her own state and forced to travel to Indiana for the procedure, has spotlighted the shocking impact of the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on abortion. The story of the girl came to light 3 days after the court overturned a nationwide right to terminate pregnancy, and Ohio's 6-week trigger ban came into effect. Dr. Caitlin Bernard, an Indianapolis gynecologist, said she had received a call from a colleague doctor in Ohio who treats child abuse victims and asked for help. Indiana's lawmakers have not yet banned or restricted abortions, but they are likely to do so when a special session convenes. Okay, abortion providers like Bernard say they're receiving a sharp increase in the number of patients coming to their clinic for abortion from neighboring states. So again, no details, and it sounds like she's almost advertising, come to me for your abortion if you're past 6 weeks, doesn't it? I'm right across the state lines of Ohio. See, another story, no detail. You don't have reporters anymore. You know, reporters don't call people up. You know, if you were covering this story, you know, and this were a few years back, what you would do is you would talk to this Dr. Bernard and you would find out who this other doctor is. And then you would go and verify it. You wouldn't just go, you know, I was on my high school newspaper in high school. My teacher, his name was Mr. Ogle. He's long dead and probably, you know, turned the dust by now. He was old then. But if I turned in this is like the Hutchinson testimony, right? If I turned in something like that wasn't sourced, he wouldn't have let me put a story about what was for lunch tomorrow at the high school cafeteria without it being properly sourced. You've got to have independent sourcing in newspapers and in news stories. You used to have to, but no more. Everyone in the media are committing plagiarism now. That's all they do is plagiarize. They copy and paste stories and boom, 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 and that's it. And they put it in their publication. You just don't have reporters anymore. And you know, there's, you know, maybe like at Breitbart and the Gateway Pundit and, you know, some of our good conservative press. But in the mainstream legacy corporate media, they just copy and paste and plagiarize one another. No fact checking, no calls. I bet you that not one reporter called that Dr. Bernard and tried to get the name of the doctor that she was talking to verify the story. Of course not. Yeah, Pence. Let's not listen, we're having a good morning here. Let's not talk about Pence, okay? Now, this here is just another example of how disgusting the liberals are. You know, National Public Radio, which is, you know, basically like Radio Moscow from, 1962, they're attacking the prime minister who was assassinated, calling him a divisive arch-conservative. Right? You've seen this story, a divisive arch-conservative. So what's NPR doing here? They're justifying his assassination. They're saying, well, you know, yeah, you know, but he was a divisive arch-conservative. What do you expect the guy to do other than make in his garage his own shotgun and go and do this? I mean, come on, the guy was divisive. And he's an arch-conservative. These are, you know, Democrats are as sick and twisted as a functioning person can possibly be. You know, Abe here was the longest-serving prime minister in all of modern Japan. That doesn't tell me that he was divisive. That tells me that he had a lot of support. You don't become the longest-running prime minister because you're a divisive person. It's, you know, maybe he was conservative, just because liberals don't like you doesn't mean you're divisive. Maybe they're the divisive ones. This is one of the most tasteless, low-life stories that I've ever seen come out of any leftist when it involved the death of someone, the murder of someone. They're basically justifying the assassination. But you know what? That's what they do. That's what they do on the left. They are, I don't know what they are. I mean, they're just spoiled creatures. Oh, man. By the way, thanks everyone for joining me. I do appreciate it. Make sure you like the video. if you don't mind. If you're new here, subscribe. And I do appreciate everyone who supports my channel. We're getting close to the 50,000 subscriber mark, and looking forward to that. Well, I'll do some kind of celebration when I hit 50,000. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Get all your friends to subscribe. Share my YouTube channel on all your social media, and get your friends to subscribe. Give me that 50,000 mark. I'd appreciate it. You know, it's hard for a conservative white guy to build up a following, right? When you're just doing your own thing on social media. If if you're a conservative girl or minority, you move up. But a white guy, I'm just like a white guy with a guitar on American Idol, right? But we're getting there slowly but surely, thanks to all of your support, and I very much appreciate it. I do. I really do. So this White House press spokesperson we have, she's a real, as President Trump would say, she's a real beaut, isn't she? I mean, she is just, she is the worst White House press secretary there is. She's just not a very smart person. She makes Psaki look competent, doesn't she? So this is Jean-Pierre, and she's being asked about the harassment of Kavanaugh and his family at the D.C. steakhouse by the abortion people. Listen to this.
But you never said don't go to their houses, so as long as they're peaceful. Would you say don't go to a restaurant that a Supreme Court justice is at?
What I'm saying is we condemn any intimidation when it comes to judges. The president has talked about this, and we have put out statements in his name and many times.
If protesters know that a justice is out to eat at a restaurant, that they can go and protest as long as they are what you consider peaceful. That's okay.
Well, we have said that we want to see peaceful protests. That's what we have said. We want to see the protests be peaceful, but when it comes to intimidation, that is something that we have condemned.
So where's the line? If these protesters can go to a justice's house and they can go to a restaurant, where is it that you don't think it's appropriate for a group of protesters to go?
I just laid out, you asked me about intimidation. We condemn intimidation. We condemn any violence, and we've been very clear. It is a clear definition of what violence is or what intimidation is. Peaceful protest, people should be allowed to be able to do that.
In a restaurant?
If it's outside of a restaurant, if it's peaceful, for sure.
Really?
Peaceful protest. Your first question to me was intimidation.
So these justices, because protesters do not agree with an opinion that they signed on to, have no right to privacy, is what you're saying.
But Peter, this is people have the right to, this is what a democracy is. People have the right
to privacy?
Of course people have a right to privacy, but people also have a right to be able to protest peacefully.
Is that
peacefully?
safe?
It's the intimidation and the violence that we condemn.
Is that safe?
Peter,
isn't that creating a potential really bad situation when there are people, even if they're being peaceful at the time, they're angry. And that's why they would be there, right?
Peter, we have condemned any intimidation and violence. I said peaceful protest should be allowed.
Okay. Now, I thought blue dresses were off limits in the White House since Lewinsky. I don't know. Women wearing blue dresses in the White House. Okay. Now, this clip here of her, this is an important thing, okay? First off, you don't protest judges in the United States. They're not legislators. You don't try to influence their decision or any of that, okay? You just don't do that. But the thing is, they're being run by a mob, just like those new Black Panthers in the Emmett Till story that I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, okay? The Democrats have a mob. The mob is out of control. But she's justifying the harassment, not just of Justice Kavanaugh, but his entire family at that steakhouse in D.C. This is after a Democrat traveled across the entire American continent from California all the way to D.C. in an attempt to assassinate Justice Kavanaugh and his entire family. Okay? He and his family have survived an assassination attempt by a Democrat who was all prepared to do it. And even after that, Jean-Pierre cannot condemn the harassment of Kavanaugh. This is where their mind is at. And that is why they're losing, because Biden, who's obviously in this for one reason and one reason only, right? Making the big bucks. Making the big bucks, like that oil deal he just did with China that I was talking about yesterday. If you missed that, go to my video from yesterday. I go through the whole thing. It's the story about Biden taking the National Strategic Oil Reserve oil and selling it to himself in China. It's a very corrupt thing, which may bring his presidency down and give us President Kamala. But go watch my video yesterday. You'll hear all the details on that. But because Biden is concerned only about his financial corruption, he's got these radical lunatics like Jean-Pierre and others justifying the harassment of a Supreme Court justice and their family who just survived the entire family an assassination attempt because they don't like their interpretation of the United States Constitution. We're in a whole new America right now with these lunatics that are running the country. But that's okay, because President Trump, he's going to have his rally today in Alaska. We're going to have the blue flush coming in November with the red tsunami. And then in 2024, President Trump is going to have to make America great again, right? That's right. It says that on the shirt. Make America great again. That's what it says on my shirt here. And he is going to do it. And only he can do it, right? So, you guys going to be watching Trump in Alaska tonight? I'm going to be watching Trump in Alaska. Man, President Trump's first rally in Alaska. This is going to be phenomenal. Because, the crowd, most of these people in Alaska, people don't realize how big and far Alaska is. And I would imagine that most people in Alaska have not been to a Trump rally, because it's not like you can just get in the car and drive to the neighboring state for one. So a lot of these people have never been to a Trump rally. This will be their first one, which means they're going to be super, super, super excited. So the crowd should be just wild and incredible at the Alaska rally. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be watching it all afternoon and in the evening. Well, listen, guys, I hope everyone has a great weekend. If you're new, my name's Brian Craig. Subscribe to my channel. Everyone, please like the video if you've not done